In the last video, we were talking about Hume's problem of induction, and we explained the distinction between a priori, a posteriori, analytic, and synthetic. Now, the distinction or the addition of analytic and synthetic didn't add much for Hume's view of the problem because he didn't think anything. He thought all a priori propositions that were knowable a priori are analytic, and all propositions that are knowable a posteriori are synthetic. And set up in that way with the other two boxes, although I left the none out now, it ends up that the problem of induction was a problem. So now the question is, what is the answer? And along comes Immanuel Kant. And remember, I said Kant's view is sometimes known as transcendental idealism. And basically it's got that term because it's supposed to be a hybrid approach of rationalism and empiricism. And let me explain to you how Kant argues, or what his solution to the problem, and why he argues that it's the case. He says, first of all, when we're looking at the analytic synthetic distinction, or we're looking at a priori, a posteriori, that we start out in Hume's position. That is, they're analytic a priori statements of propositions, there are synthetic a posteriori. He says, and remember, when we were talking about mathematics, we put those into that category that says relations of ideas. In other words, analytic a priori. But Kant has us thinking about mathematics. And if we think of 2 plus 3 equals 5, well, the concept of 2 plus 3 is the same thing as the concept of 5. Well, what happens if you don't know about addition? Or I shouldn't say you know about addition, you just have not gotten up to how you add 2 and 3 and what the sum is. It looks like propositions about mathematics are not, you can't know them just by examining the concepts that are involved just by definition, but rather it looks like those propositions, the predicates, are adding information about the subject. That is, the addition of 2 and 3, we understand with those compounds, but the fact that that actually adds up to 5 is new information. So Immanuel Kant argues that arithmetic, mathematics, is not analytic a priori, but rather that category that we thought was empty of synthetic a priori already has something in it. What does it have in it? Mathematics. But that gives Kant the opening that he is looking for. Because the opening that Kant is looking for to try to explain the justification of induction, that is, the belief that the future is going to be like the past, is exactly the same one that it's exactly the same way mathematics is justified. That is, mathematics is, the propositions of mathematics are synthetic. They add information. Similarly, the proposition, the principle of induction that the future is going to be like the past, it's knowable a priori. That is, Kant says it is a precondition to our having any kind of meaningful experiences. But the fact that the future will be like the past is synthetic. It is informative. And this is Kant's solution to the problem, that there's this other category, synthetic a priori propositions, and the principle of induction, principles about cause and effect, are not analytic. You can't just analyze them out, but rather they add some new information, but nonetheless they're knowable a priori through a different kind of argument, this new kind of argument that Kant introduces, and that is that as a prerequisite to experience itself, we need to have the concept of causation, and with it the principle of induction, and that is Kant's, at a very high level, Kant's solution to the problem of induction. And many people think Kant really has the answer. I find it less than satisfying, because I'm still trying to figure out why that principle of induction is knowable at all. Why is it a precondition? I'm not sure why it's a precondition for my having experiences, because the world can change pretty significantly, and moreover there are a lot of things that we don't know about the world. As we discover things in science, it looks like these are things that you know a posteriori, that is, they're matters of fact. So I am not convinced that Kant has a good solution to the problem.